Now, this is going to sound crazy to you, but
crazier than normal is what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, we got Game out, and he started touching on something. And I know this is going to sound nuts to you, but we're going to listen to Game, and then we want to come back. Charles and I think, disagree on this. I think the Kardashians could be transformative in American politics and could end up influencing the 2020 election to the point where they could actually be the kingmakers. I know that sounds crazy. Here's what Game said first.
Do you think she's gonna be the next powerhouse in like women's prison reform?
I say the Kim K running for president. Hillary ain't make it. She ain't know, you know what I'm saying? She ain't know how to get the 18-year-olds to wear her sister lip gloss. Kim figured that out. You know how many 18-year-old, like fresh 18-year-old Caucasian women there are in America? You know how many of them have Kylie's lip gloss? You know how many of them will go vote if Kylie tweets vote for my sister?
Yeah, you're right.
Then we ain't talking Kim K for president.
Okay, now I am not.
So you're not going that
saying
far.
that Kim Kardashian
is going to run for president.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
But what I.
But there is something to. I agree with you that there is definitely something to what Game said and what you have been saying, that their social media power could translate to actual votes for a candidate.
So let's break it down. When you add up all of the Kardashian social media following, they have 700 million people. Now, obviously, a lot of them are outside of America. But let's say 100 million are in America.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe let's just roughly say that.
Right.
If
Probably
they
more
could,
than that.
if they could mobilize 5 million people who didn't vote, they could change the next presidential election. If they decide to hitch their wagon to, say, one of the Democratic candidates, and it's not just raw votes, but, you know, in certain states where the margins are 50,000, 60,000, when you start adding this up with and here's what I'm suggesting, that, and this is going to sound crazy, but here's my theory. Suppose that the Kardashians say that anybody who votes gets a lip gloss or something if they send us proof of voting. You don't have to tell us how you voted, just voting, getting out the vote. And then separately, Kim, the way she was, you know, pushing for Alice to get free from prison, that Kim makes a campaign out of whoever it is that she likes. Suppose there's a Democrat she likes. And she pushes and pushes and pushes.
Here's the hole in your theory, in my opinion. The problem is that people aren't looking for political guidance from the Kardashians. And those 18-year-olds who are all buying Kylie's lip gloss, there's an army of them, I agree, they are not looking to Kylie for any political guidance. If they want political guidance at all, they certainly aren't looking to Kylie for that.
Okay.
So something would have to change.
But you could say that about prison reform and Kim Kardashian.
I agree. Something would have to change where they start looking at the Kardashians for those types of things.
No,
and maybe Kim, what she did with Alice, and she visited the California
over the weekend.
Yeah, over the weekend in Corona, California. Look, that may start to move the needle toward what you're talking about. But they're just not there now.
The part about the incentives, too, the lip gloss, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. If we've learned one thing about the Kardashians,
they're not going to give away
good business
product.
people, and that's not a good business move.
Well,
it is.
No,
that would mean they are sacrificing their profits to encourage people to vote, which maybe they will want to do.
For them to become, you know, kingpins would be a huge
king or
thing.
queen makers.
But it's actually a huge thing. Look, I'm just saying the thing about get out the vote. This has been done before, where people get incentivized to vote. But all that aside, if Kim decides to get political the way she got involved with prison reform, and it's still not over with that, but she seems to be taking it seriously. All I'm saying is, if they can mobilize 5 million people, which would be 5%, say, of their American following, roughly, that could make a difference in the next election.
But that's a huge number. That's a huge number you're talking about. That 5% is like, you
don't
can't
think
just
that's
snap
doable?
your fingers. Is it doable? Yes. Are the numbers there that they could do it? Yes. But a lot has to change before.
Well, a lot does have to change, but you know what? There's not a whole lot of, you know, light at the end of the tunnel going on right now. And if
I don't know what you're talking about.
I got to tell you something. I talked to somebody who's big in the Democratic Party on Friday. He said there are 25 people now who seriously are thinking of running.
And you know what? My reaction to that is that means you don't have anybody. If there are 25 people, you've got to have a smaller list.
But all I'm saying is any one of them would love to have that kind of social media attachment.
Sure.
Any one of them. And all I'm saying is that don't dismiss this, because if down the road they decide to get political, they could end up being a big force. They just could.
Okay, for now, I'm dismissing it.
Shaka Smith, Los Angeles. I completely agree with Harvey. It wasn't too long ago that Angelina was wearing Billy Bob Thornton's blood and kissing her brother, but now she's become a really big global UN ambassador. So I think you can turn it around. And what Kim's done is with Alice Marie Johnson, meeting with the woman today in prison, I think has been a really great step in that direction. So I think she could have a political future if she wants one.
There you go.